Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one is going to be your boss battle prep for Solo Sokoa. And if people were curious how much time actually went into these, HD was kind enough to point out that he hates boss battle now because he's sick of talking about it for 9 hours, or listening to it for 9 hours. So yeah, about 9 hours worth of stream timing, maybe a little more, sometimes go into boss battle planning for this. So it's not the most simple thing, and I still miss plenty of stuff. So hopefully you find it useful, and remember to like, subscribe, and share because that really helps me out. All right, so as usual, we're going to start off with the stuff the boss does. We got a 20 times boost to purple gems. We got a 40 times boost to leech gems, and we have a 40 times boost to bleeds. Blast gems are negative 100. But that doesn't mean you can't use any blast gems. Area gems will work. So a 3x3, a 5x5, a 2x3, any by anything will work. Subs that generate blast gems also will work. The bleed does not work on traps, countdowns, that kind of thing, just like trainers and coaches don't. So no, the bleed will not work on Dominic. What else? Boss abilities. The freeze is happening on the boss's first turn. This is according to the blog, so I'm going to prepare based on the info I have and make recommendations based on that. The shield is on the boss's second turn. So you're going to have 2 turns if you bring a max unfreeze, effectively 2 full turns, to do 1.66 billion damage without needing to break the shield. Also, the boss is going to have a buff every turn. There's no way you're going to be able to avoid this because someone will always have a purple gem on the board that doubles its damage unless you neutralize that. So neutralize is not useless if it doesn't take down the shield. I hear people saying neutralize is useless. It doesn't work on the shield. Sometimes it works on the shield. Other times, all the time, it works on boss buffs. So neutralize is useful. Now, what does that mean? So we got 5 million damage. If you have a neutralize, it's 5 million. If you don't, it's 10 million. The boss is going to do that every 2 turns. Starting on his first turn, the buff goes out. That doesn't mean the first turn he's going to hit for 10 million. The first turn, the buff goes out. The second turn, he hits for 10 million, unless you neutralize. A level 7 neutralize is enough to cover that. That is under the Chaotic Boss Breaker. Level 7 would be enough to cover that for sure. So if you have a 7 neutralize, you're good on that. Yeah, last boss, he did have the buff from the start. So if he has the buff from the start, you have the potential to eat 10 million. Or use an exhaust and half it. Or have your guys over 10 million. So it's good to be prepared just in case that's the case. If he has it turn 1, hopefully you have an exhaust or over 10 million health or are winning turn 1. So there's that. Freeze, turn 2, so you need a max unfreeze. Every lobby should have a max unfreeze. 150 purple gems if you get to the shield. I would say there are 2 ways to go about this boss, and that is either try and win before turn 3 and ignore your purple gem breakers, or have your purple gem breakers and strap in for the long haul. What does that mean? That means if you don't know you can win by turn 2, I would not use any bleed character except for Theory. If you know you can win by turn 2, some bleed characters that would be okay would be Hall of Fame HBK at Chaotic. And who we got? Possibly Andre. And what's his face? Bulldog. They all have bigger bleeds. Drew has a 1 MP. Andre has a 1 MP, and Bulldog has a bigger bleed. You could, so RVD looks better than he is because it's 1 turn only. So it's like 500k 1 turn. Yes, Scott Steiner has a bleed by default, triple purple. And then Big Papa Pump, I would ignore the bleed and go triple purple on. But yes, Tech Steiner, he covers it because he also can help with the shield, so he's a very safe pick. So let's get into some of the picks. Keep in mind, all the time, I'm giving recommendations on who I think is good, but if you don't have those, bring somebody. Yes, 1.9 million for your RVD. That's great. With one tick, that will be 80 million a bleed. So, depending how many times you can stack it, it'll be 80 mil per stack, Defender. For up to one gem. Slato. For up to one gem. So it caps out with double damage at one. Good question, though. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So we're going to start with focused. Because I want to reiterate here, because I feel like people miss this every time. Your number one priority in this slot is having a maxed breaker. Hell freezes over. Your damage doesn't matter. Your purple gems don't matter. What matters is having this maxed, because that gives you an additional free turn on the boss to deal damage. If it's maxed, you can use it right away at the start of the turn and unfreeze your whole team. So, if you don't have that maxed, you're bringing the wrong character. Unless somebody else on your team has it covered. Now, the real question is, do I think anyone's going to be good enough damage in this slot to make up for not having it maxed? I think there's potentially only one person. That would be Rosie with a Piper Plate, and because he can recycle and grow the damage so much. That might be the only exception. Other than that, I don't think there's an exception. So you should just bring whoever you have max unfreeze. Some good ones, if they already are max unfreeze. Mutant Roman this way with an all heart obviously is very good. I know he's rare. Excuse me. Kali would be a great max unfreeze guy. Steamboat, solid for the shield, okay damage. If he's your max unfreeze, I would run Steamboat this way with the reds and the purple. And then depending how you want to run it, you can do your normal matchy match, red trainer. You're going to find all the boss battle builds are generally the same, guys. Just about every one of them. If there's 6 MP and you have a 17k Santa Hogan, you can go the lazy route, use the MP trainer, 17k Santa, and they start loaded. Or you're doing the matchy match. So, you know, your Dusty, your Dom, your Ford, that sort of thing. And then NWO Hogan. So NWO Hogan and Montez, one red match loads these. Dusty, one, you could do one purple match, or even better is the Santa Hogan trick. Click this, then do that, you know, recycles, etc. That's up to you, however you want to do that. I don't know your roster, your trainers, that sort of thing. So he's okay choice for the shield. I'll just kind of go through the ones I have. Again, keep in mind, max unfreeze is the most important. Rosie, obviously. So Kali, great choice, max unfreeze. Two different ways to do it. Same principle here with the moves. Your entourage is going to basically be some version of Dusty, NWO Hogan, Ford, NWO Hogan, and then flat purples. Right? Whichever way you want to start. Do you want to start with the Vice Grip because you're running an all heart to buff it? Or do you feel better starting with the buff and the Spine Buster? Your choice based on your trainers and your preference. Kali, you might have trouble getting 2 full cycles. In fact, you probably will. But he still will do decent damage and also help for the shield. But the key again, max focus breaker. So who else we got? Regal I don't have, and we'll talk about him when I get to the bottom. And Andre I don't have, and Inviscina I don't have. Those are kind of the guys that can do some extra for you. Again, if you don't have those, it really doesn't matter, because Perfect can do some stuff too with purple. If you don't have them, it doesn't matter, because you needed a max unfreeze in this slot. So this is for trying to clear the harder stuff. The 23s. So Andre has the bleed. That applies if you already have someone else with the max unfreeze. I actually kind of hate Andre as a pick for this battle because his damage is meh. and 1 MP, you still need a 3 match to load. So honestly, personally, I would stay away from Andre and Drew in their respective classes, because even though it's 1 MP, it's just as hard to load as the 7 MPs with the matchy match trainers. So Invis can break some purples and do okay. And then Regal, a couple different ways you could run him. Pyro Plate, Drew, you can do yellow, purple, purple. You can do yellow Juggernaut, yellow, and then one of your purples. It's up to you if you want to do that. Those are fine too. Again, though, max unfreeze more important than damage in this slot. In a perfect world, you have good damage and the max unfreeze, but the max unfreeze is needed. So that's focused. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to go to aggressive now. Let me move my thing. So aggressive, I think if you have Umaga, he's probably the best pick for this boss battle. I think safe to say. Assuming you have a drip plate on him, I would personally run triple black. Try and get 2 stacks of the jugs, blow it up, having hit 6 moves, and that's a bajillion multiply gems. Lord only knows how hard that will hit in this boss. Ridiculous amount. You could also do purple, black, black. Recycle easier, load easier. Same principle, just less drips on the board. Then you got Theory, who I'll be running because they don't have Umaga. I've talked about him a lot on stream. Really what we're going for is this bleed. It's almost 1 million for 3 turns. The entourage we're going to run for this is straight up matchy match and bleed trainers. So as usual, Alundra, NWO Hogan, Apollo, and Woods or Kyrie. With Apollo and Woods, every black match is equal to 114 million bleed per swipe for 3 swipes. So basically it's like 340 million per stack of bleed. My goal is going to be to get 3-4 stacks out and then swipe it out, for over 1 billion damage. So this is the plate I recommend because swiping is so fast and it crashes your game just like this when you're recording a video when you click that plate. Awesome. Thank you, BlueStacks. It is a normal Mherex video. It's never a Mherex video without a crash. So Theory, I think, is going to be one that a lot of people have. Also doesn't require the drip plate or a crazy plate. That a lot of people can do some damage. Umaga is definitely more rare than Theory, and drip plate is also rare. That being said, I do think Umaga has the better carry potential for top end. All right. DX Army plate. Whenever you break 3 or more purple gems, make 7 green into black. So because you can do so many swipes per move, my goal is going to be not to hit these, right? So every time I match a black, I'm going to hit the bleed. If I don't have a black, hopefully I have a purple. Even when this gets loaded, I probably won't hit this because it's so fast to do swipes, assuming I can manipulate the board into a black match. That's the whole goal here, is get black matches and swipe and bleed for crazy amounts. So that's the plan with Theory. The web portal is sized differently, so none of my stuff fits for the layouts I've done, Sapin. It's an excellent suggestion, but how it formats to my screen doesn't work well for me. BlueStacks, I can drag, drop, resize. You can't see it, really. You can tell I'm doing something, but I can literally fit it to any size I want on my screen. So it just gives me more flexibility with my layout. Like, I have windows open everywhere. Short story. Okay. If you get solo, he'll be great for the shield, not necessarily great for the boss, but break a bunch of purples. Just run the Juggernaut, and then the move that triggers it, and get a bunch of purples. Obviously, for shield, if you get to shield, Hogan is good like normal. You can use Ridge with the sub. You can use Taker with the area in the sub. You can use Ray with his multiplies, Hogan plate, grow the damage. The normal stuff applies. The boss hits hard, so exhaust is going to have value. Bring your max exhaust guy. Jimmy's really interesting, again, like usual, because if you have the moment, his multiply gems are buffed. You could run something like this. He's chucking random purples. He's choosing purples. He's making blacks into multiplies. You could do something like that. So Jimmy's always kind of in the mix, it seems like, as an okay option. It's no different this time if he's your max exhaust guy in particular. Don't like Edge at all. I would not recommend using Edge, especially if you have to take him to 6 stars. A lot of these guys are not worth taking to 6 star. That's why I don't talk about him. Bulldog has a very nice bleed. 500k for 3 turns. It's one of the better bleeds. So if you can win in the first 2 turns, feel free to use Bulldog with the bleed setup, especially if he's your exhaust guy. If you go to the shield, you're going to struggle. Barrett's okay. Makes traps into purple. Not great, but if he's your max exhaust guy for some reason, you can do that. And who else do we have? Oh yeah, shout out to Peck. He mentioned Lashley, and you can always do this with Lashley, no matter what color has the buff. As usual, Peck coming in clutch. You can actually run his triple yellow, and you place one sub on a yellow gem and the other one's on purple for this one, and then you destroy them. So you're going to have 7 gems, 8 gems you can destroy. So put one on a yellow to recycle and the rest on a purple. So if Lashley's your max exhaust, he's always going to have some utility that way, no matter what color it is. So good call, Peck. You could also probably, who else we got? We talked about Balor. I think that's everybody here. Drew, Umaga, Solo, we talked about them. Drew I don't love, just like I don't love Andre. Demon Balor you could run if he's your max exhaust. Don't hate it, don't love it. And yeah, 14 times multis, pretty decent. For sure, Peck. Pretty decent. Yeah, I think that covers that one. Let's move to defensive. I'm saving the worst for last because there's so many and that's chaotic. So defensive. Not a lot of great options. We're just going to start there. I think Dom is not the best option. I do think if you had him 6 star, Drip Plate, Pyro Plate, Trickster Snoop would be ridiculous for this one. That's a healthy investment, one I don't plan on making. But I do think he would be very good, probably something like this. I also think you would need Drew for that, or Drew would certainly help for the extra pyro. You need 4 to trigger the Piper Plate, but something like that, right? Snoop would probably kill it that way. Also very, very good. If you have Bischoff with both gears, I think this will probably outdamage Dom as well. Not you, you're not Bischoff. That's just simply letting the Juggernaut move do the work for you. This goes to when it's maxed out 1x6, so you're making 6 1x5 areas into a mobile, and then you're turning them all into purple. Of course, you know his gear boosts, 175 a mobile and then 250, so both would apply. And the boss setup, he's going to be ridiculous with both gears. You could also maybe use this into the mix once in a while, and then you would just use the sub to recycle the yellow. Bischoff would smack that way. Then you have Dom. Dom is really interesting in the sense that there's 2 different theories here. So this is just purple gems. The 3 Amigos animation is very slow, roughly 16 seconds. So choose sub to load. You're not getting a lot of cycles with this. But if you're getting to the shield, this is the build you want. If you're not getting to the shield, though, you probably want to run triple yellow. 2 columns into leech. 2 gems to make into juggernauts. Turn the leeches yellow. And it just recycles itself. Click, 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 click. I think that would be the way to go with Dom from a damage standpoint. Trainer entourages, couple different ways. With the yellows, I'd probably go like Kofi, Santa to start. Like I said, lazy mode option. Veer is in theory. With the sub, you could go Lawler. Again, Santa for the lazy option of not needing a match. And then your purple gem damage guys. So Those are probably the actual like good damage options. Then you have other options that are great with max healer. So like if your max healer is Gable, Gable's got to choose purple with the sub and can help that way. So Gable's a decent shout. Peck's got max heal on his zombie dom. He's gonna run him this way, and then choose. Hopefully these land on purples, and then you can, you know, hit some purples with the choose destroy. Hit some greens. Not the best, not the worst. It recycles, and you know he brings the heal to the table. That's the important thing. If you don't have, especially in slot where there's not a ton of great options, is getting creative with it and bringing guys that can contribute. Sammy could be okay, very similar to Dom and Rosie. He's a higher charge. Rosie without the option to use the pyro plate. So you could run Sammy this way, but high charge, little choosy. So there's that. Who else we got? Mankind, zombie Mankind. You could use him in a pinch. Probably something like this. Choose gems to make into black, all purple into leeches, make 6 random into purple. Hopefully you can connect some dots, do some stuff. Not great, but usable. And then what else we got? Hurricane. Hurricane, don't love him, don't hate him. Little bit of RNG, 7 randoms into purple. If you have his gear, it's gonna help. Swap into blue, Z plate. Certainly can do some things with him, and not the worst option. And he can heal himself in boss battles too, because the leeches. So, you know, there's a lot of people that might have made Hurricane their healing guy. This is a decent one to bring him on, especially if he's your max healer, right? So, that's gonna cover those. Now chaotic, which is the big one. There's a lot here. So, chaotic. Boss breaker. We talked about neutralize. That's the one you're gonna want here. Is neutralize. Aggressive. You want exhaust, which I mentioned but didn't show. 2 exhausts makes 0 damage, so you can always use 2 exhausts and never worry about the boss buff or neutralize. Just FYI. So Macho, probably gonna try this set. Juggernaut move, make the bottom 4 rows into multiply gems. So throw this out, put this out, couple swipes, turn these purple. There's a couple ways you can run it. You could go super lazy and do Santa Hogan here, double MP trainer, start it loaded, but you might run into some recycling issues. Its time would be the plate to use. That's purple to yellow, help recycle. So you could do that with Macho. You could also, instead of this, you could have the sub in there if you want to hit the sub. Get more multiplies out. The thing to keep in mind with that, though, is it spreads your multiplies out, so your purples don't always connect. So that's why it's not being used here. There's also Dusty. With the extra time, a purple match is going to load everything this way. Because the extra time will load the yellow with Kofi. So this is probably the setup I would run. At 6-star silver, that should hit. I'm thinking around 400 million with gear. HBK bleed setup, really like this. A couple different things. So if you have the gear, I would run him this way with matchy match here and here. Then 1 yellow match, so Acrodom and then NWO Hogan. 1 yellow match loads everything. Hit the bleed, hit the finisher, hit the bleed, hit the finisher. That should be worth 160 million with 2 swipes. And you should be able to get 2 a turn. So that's 320 million a turn, 640 million before the shield with this setup at 6-star bronze. And that gets you 1/3 of the boss's life. That's a good chunk. After the shield, I don't like HBK at all. If you don't have his gear, I would probably put green matchy match Seth here, and then a 3 match is worth 5, so you would also need to use NWO Hogan or Santa Hogan at 17k. Should get you loaded then, because that's a 7 MP. Yeah, 7 MP. Start with 1 for your turn. Yeah, so 17k Santa or NWO Hogan. Otherwise, you're gonna have to try and figure out how to get it all loaded, get 2 yellow matches, that kind of thing. So that's the bleed option. and it's fine for that if you're winning before turn 3. Who else do I really like? Balor. Shobo Balor is going to be very good here. Buffs the purple gems, makes a bunch of them. So triple purple Balor, like a lot. Great for the shield, good damage, good all around. Recycles, don't have to worry about cascading in this mode. So really like Balor. Z-Plate with the countdown gems. Yes, Z-Plate for Balor here for sure. Also very good. Tech Steiner, triple purple. Ignore Gable here. 554k bleed, 2 turns. Very similar to HBK's bleed. You get the bleed, you get the purples going off. It spams itself. Get a stack or 2 and then swipe at the end of the turn to get the bleed. Right? Hopefully 2 stacks, swipe to get the bleed. They're 6 MP, so 7 MP. So you're going to need matchy match. So purple matchy match, which is Dusty, NWO Hogan, and then your 2 bleeds is what I would run. So purple swipe, boom boom bleed, boom boom bleed. Not the right button. Who else do I like here? Lawler, if he's who you got, is okay. I would take Balor with the level 6 neutralize over KO with the 10. Personally. Because I'll probably also have an exhaust, and Balor's going to be much more consistent than KO. Everyone's going to say KO. If you want to bring KO, sure. The exception, Brother Ray, is if the boss has actually got his buff on turn 1. If the boss is hitting you for the full 10 million and your team is dying, then bring KO. If not, then Balor, if that makes sense. So you could use Lawler if he's your neutralized guy. He can help with the shield a little bit. He's got the gears and stuff. Won't be amazing, but solid. I really hate Ricochet because he just makes some purples, so not crazy about that. We talked about RVD. His bleed isn't as great as it looks. You have to land a ton of them because it's only 1, but he's a productive carry, as Evo said. He can do some damage, so as long as you're getting done before the shield, you can bring him. Right on, Brother Ray. Yeah. Brett is great for the shield. 6-star, I think he goes to 6 or 5x5 area, 25 purple gems. You can just spam that move over and over and over. So that would be the way I would run him. Is just spam the purple. Don't like Montez because he doesn't help on the shield. His damage is not going to be crazy. I would not fall in love with him. If he's your neutralized and that's your productive carry, okay, as long as you can get it done before the boss's turn with the shield. That's fine. Riddle, triple blue at 6-star, will shock people how hard he will hit. 6-star and up, triple purple Riddle. Z-Plate will hit super hard. Theory triple purple 6-star will also hit hard. So those are the free ones, and then we'll get to the ones I don't have. Oh, Truth, you can run our Truth if for some reason you've taken him 6-star. He's got snowfalls, makes purples, has a little buffy thing. Have some fun with our Truth and little Jimmy. But he won't be amazing, but you know, if you want to, just for fun, knock yourself out. And then the guys I don't have, Big Papa Pump. I would run him triple purple and ignore the bleed. Because he can grow the damage and just keep making it bigger. So Big Papa Pump is who I would run. So I think that covers everybody at Chaotic. So I think that covers the boss. So simply to recap, guys, if you can win fast, i.e. turn 1 and 2, then just bring a max unfreeze and go ahead and bring your bleed guys and go ham, your best damaging ones. If you get into the shield, though, that strategy won't work at all. Not really, no. Zeke is not really good, no. Keep in mind, breakers are the most important thing, so be creative with it. Unfreeze max, absolutely needed. That is a must for this boss, a max unfreeze. The only few that I would say are worth ignoring breakers would be like Theory, worth ignoring a breaker, Umaga, worth ignoring a breaker. Depending how hard it hits, I'm not sure. Rosie with a Piper plate, potentially worth ignoring a breaker. And then maybe Big Papa Pump, worth ignoring the breaker. Beyond that, I don't think anyone is worth ignoring a breaker in place of it, right? So likely I'm going to try Macho for fun and then go to Tech Steiner. This is what mine is going to look like. Dom, I will likely be trying triple yellow because I think we're going to go for the turn 2 wins. So again, keep in mind, according to the blog, you're going to see freeze right away, so max on freeze required. If you get to the shield, 150 purple gems is not nothing, so then you're going to need those guys like Brett, Showboat Balor, people blowing up the board with purple, so Zombie Steamboat, guys like that are going to be what you need. So let me know what you think in the comments. Hopefully you found this useful. Again, if I didn't talk about somebody you don't have, that means you need to be using your breaker guy and then have somebody that hopefully can do a little bit of something, whether it's your breaker guy with the bleed or a breaker guy with some purple gem spam of some kind. So let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for watching, guys. Good luck out there. Oh, crap, does this guy ever stop talking?